Every single year Apple releases a new iPhone, and once the new iPhone is released, every famous YouTuber is saying that these cameras are almost there, they are almost ready to replace your cinema camera. I'm going to tell you that not only it is not going to replace a cinema camera soon, it is not going to do that ever. These cameras are never going to replace your cinema camera no matter what you do with them, no matter how technology advances, and I'm going to explain to you why in this video. First of all, of course, the obvious thing is the size. The size of these cameras, they put a lot of restrictions on the capabilities and abilities of these devices, of these cameras. These are the sensors that have been pulled from different cameras, or haven't been installed yet. Anyway, you can see how significant the difference is between a full-frame sensor and a phone sensor. The one that's installed in iPhone 13 Pro is a bit bigger than this one, and it is 1.9 of an inch in width. Holy shit, Americans, what is wrong with you? Why can't you just use whole numbers that the rest of the planet can understand too? And how do you even go from inches to feet? You cannot multiply or divide it by 10 like we do in millimeters, kilometers, centimeters. How do you measure something precisely? And if you go lower than an inch, instead of coming up with something, some metric that is going to describe that, you just use fractions of an inch, like 1/4, 1/5, 1.9. Anyway, the difference in size is going to inevitably affect the image quality. And the first one is, of course, the depth of field. It is completely non-existent. Everything will be in focus. And it is not a bad thing if you want everything in focus. If you're shooting something on an ultra-wide lens, you almost always want everything to be in focus. But if you shoot in telephoto, and there is a telephoto lens in here, you want your subject to be isolated as much as possible, and it is not going to be achieved as well as in the bigger camera that has a dedicated lens. So, of course, Apple is trying to correct that using AI or an algorithm that is going to determine which is the foreground and which is the background, and blur the background out in order for the image to seem more cinematic, more like it was captured on a real camera. And it looks awful because this algorithm, well, it is far from being perfect, and you're always gonna notice that something is wrong, that the tip of the ear or your hair is blurred and it's not supposed to be there. So, well, it's not usable at this particular moment. Now, here's the test that shows the quality you can get from a cinematic mode. As you can see, it is far from being perfect and blurs out areas that are not supposed to be blurry. And also you can immediately feel that something is off, and it is not a shot captured on a real cinema camera. And this is for comparison 4K in ProRes, the highest quality you can get from this iPhone. And I tried to color grade this footage the best I can, and here is what I can say. Despite the fact that this footage is 10-bit and this is a controlled environment with high quality lighting, it is still difficult to make it look good. And despite my best effort, it looks plasticky and weird. The second restriction is the low light capabilities. Of course, they are poor. Every camera is going to perform worse in the low light situation, but the smaller the sensor, the less amount of light is going to enter that sensor, so it is going to perform much worse compared to a bigger sensor. Of course, these companies are trying to deal with that as well. They're trying to introduce some algorithms that are going to subdue those noisy patches inside of the image. But the more you are trying to subdue the noise in your image, the more plastic it is going to look, unfortunately. And you might say that those bigger cameras, they struggle when there is not enough light, and of course they do, but they have a lot of advantages. The first one is the bigger sensor, and as we said, the bigger the sensor, the more light is going to come through. And the second advantage is the interchangeable lens, because there are some lenses that open really wide and can let a lot of light through, making this low light situation a little bit better. Of course, some cinematographers, they use iPhone to shoot a movie. Sometimes they attach a huge lens in here. Sometimes they use an iPhone as it is. And it is done only because of two reasons. The first reason is they are being paid by Apple, so they do not really care what they're going to end up with, as long as they are being paid. The second reason is they are trying to stand out. If somebody says, "Hey man, just wanted to tell you, the movie sucks real bad." "Well, I shot it on an iPhone, what the hell do you want from me?" Yeah, fair point. I probably need to change my door lock. But if somebody says, "Hey mate, your movie is a masterpiece." "Well, you wouldn't believe me, but I shot it on an iPhone. Get the hell away from my house." "Hey, I just wanted to cheer you up, Jesus fucking Christ." I definitely need to change my door lock, definitely. Who the hell are those people? And then you pick up an iPhone and try to shoot something like they did, and the image is nowhere near it. This is because this phone is the only thing that is different on the set. The rest remains the same, and it includes a huge group of professionals, extremely expensive lighting, complicated sets, wardrobe, microphones, and so on. And then the footage is being sent to professional colorists that is making more money in a month than we are combined within a year. And he is trying to remove all of the imperfections, he's trying to correct the color, he's trying to do all that he can in order to make this image passable. And even then, you can immediately tell that something is off when a phone is used as a camera. Take for example a movie called Unsane. If we ignore the fact that the movie is bad not only visually and direct our attention only to the image, it is easy to notice that the image is really bad. Too noisy, blown out highlights, weird lens choices. This is because you do not really have many choices when you use a phone. There is an additional restriction when you're using a device that is that small. When you're trying to achieve high bitrate and low compression ratio to make your image better, you need to have active cooling, and you can understand this, the size of it is not going to allow you to install active cooling in this device. So you're not going to get high bitrate and low compression ratio no matter what you do. So they are going to restrict those things in order to avoid overheating. So the next time you see a YouTuber who's saying that these devices are going to replace your cinema camera, you can always assume that they are doing that only because of two things. They are being paid to say that, or they are doing that to collect views. Because everyone is dreaming about a device that is going to be that small and be able to capture images like those in Hollywood. Everyone is dreaming about that regardless of the price, but physics is physics. You are not going to achieve that. And these companies are not the only ones who are trying to innovate and create devices better than they used to be. Those companies that create cinema cameras, they are doing the same thing as well, but they are not constricted by the small form factor. They can do whatever they want. They can install an active cooling system. They can create a camera as big as they want. They are going to be ahead in this race no matter what these companies do. Of course, I understand that iPhone was not designed as a substitute for a cinema camera. It is really handy tool when you need to record something that's right in front of you at this very moment. And it is great for that purpose. I'm just tired of people saying that it's going to replace a cinema camera or a DSLR. That's all. Thank you everybody so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.